first time to vote and other electoral adventures. Well, this past Tuesday was election day, with our very own library being a polling place. I voted at the community house down the block. You know, I did so with gusto. Voting has always been a favorite civic activity of mine. I look forward to casting my ballots, even if I'm usually backing the losing horse in the race. What can I say? I just like observing the whole political process. So this enthusiasm I like to chalk up to my 1960s and 70s civic education. I learned that voting is an essential part of democracy. As soon as I turned 18 in 1975, I registered to vote. This was in Texas, back when the Republican Party was not the political juggernaut that it is now. In fact, it was so tiny that it's held its primaries by having voters stick paper ballots in shoeboxes. Well, that didn't appeal to me very much as a form of electoral action, so I registered as a Democrat. That didn't stop the local GOP in Hidalgo County from asking me to start a Youth for Ford group in my high school. Nick, give me that yellow, let me forgot prop here. The local Republican Party wanted me to start a Youth for Ford group in my high school.
Get in front, I hear you.
And I got this great President Ford 76 shirt, which is pretty amazing. I don't wear it because I'm sure it's going to be at the Smithsonian one of these days. And I got these President Ford 76 stickers, still have them 45 years later. So anyway, well, I didn't start the club, but I did keep all the swag. So my big moment as a new voter came on May 1st, 1976, the Texas Democratic primary, when I proudly cast my vote for Jerry Brown, yes, Governor Moonbeam from California, who was young and dynamic and dating Linda Ronstadt. I must have been his target youth demographic. People said that if Brown had been elected president, Ronstadt would hold the title of first chick. Voting for Jerry Brown was the first of many times that I've supported an off-brand candidate in the name of giving a voice to the long shots. I'm still doing that, and I'm still getting the same result. Some things never change. In October 1976, politics became up close and personal for one afternoon. I joined the Princeton University Student Democrats for a trip to Newark for a Columbus Day parade. Vice presidential candidates Walter Mondale and Bob Dole both appeared at this nonpartisan event. I must have had glimpses of both of them. Wow, have things changed? I cannot imagine two major candidates appearing at the same event these days, especially not, well, Columbus Day. Anyway, I voted absentee for Gerald Ford, so the t-shirt and stickers must have swayed my opinion. Then in 1980, Carter versus Reagan, that election was colored by the terrible economy, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, 3 Mile Island, and the Iranian hostage crisis. I cast my ballot for the thinking man's candidate, John Anderson, a breakaway Republican. I even have a Princeton Students for Anderson button somewhere. Needless to say, John Anderson never went to the White House, but he still impressed me, and he still does. The campaign cycles rolled along. Jesse Jackson made a lot of sense for me in the Democratic primaries of '84 and '88. I might have even voted for him in the primaries as the spoiler candidate. Kind of the grimmest election day was at a polling place where I didn't even vote. This was in November 3rd, 1992. I was the East Coast editor of a trade magazine called Video Store. On October 31st, MCA Home Video President Robert Blattner was killed in an airplane crash in Colorado. His funeral was on Election Day at Congregation Agudath Shalom in Stamford. In my role as the East Coast reporter for the magazine, I attended the funeral. Agudath Shalom was also a voting site, so I had the unsettling experience of attending a funeral where the mourners and the voters were using the same building. Fast forward to Election Day, November 2008. I'm living in Stamford and I go to a school in the Springdale area of town to vote. Compared to the short lines I've always encountered when voting, even in presidential elections, I had to wait for at least an hour. Well, as you may recall, that's the kind of enthusiasm that Barack Obama inspired. My adventures in voting in 2016 and 2020 weren't just political. They were unusually visual, as I played a photojournalist role. Sensing that the 2016 election had great historical meaning, I ran around Manhattan taking photos of news crews, demonstrators, TV network booths, anything to capture the moment. I especially snapped pictures of the news trucks parked on 6th Avenue next to the Hilton Hotel where Donald Trump had his headquarters for that World Historic Night. I didn't get to the Javits Center, however, where Hillary Clinton's supporters had gathered for the big celebration that, alas, never happened. Also in 2020, I attended a Bernie Sanders rally on Boston Common on February 29th. The day was bitterly cold, my fingers ached when I took photos. Bernie was just Bernie, and the pandemic upturned everything just 10 days later. Still, I got some good pictures. So here we are, November 2021. Another election is done. I did my part for Bedford and Westchester County. I can't say I took any really dramatic photos because a town election doesn't really lend itself to visual drama. However, I can say in 2022, if I can get into the city after voting here, I think that's going to be another story. Thank you.